Welcome to this part 2 of our 4-day series in the Marketing of Energetics Blueprint little mini course that we're doing here. Appreciate you for hopping on. Got a lot of fun stuff today. So yesterday we really gave you guys like the overview of the Marketing Energetics Blueprint in its entirety. We talked about different areas of, ultimately what we're here for is to really have this life of abundance. And what that entails is, really being able to live, like have freedom, be able to, have your own schedule, work when you want, where you want, how you want to do it, with who you want to do it with, right? Like be able to have this freedom, be able to have an impact with people, because ultimately that's what we're here for. That's why we're coaches, right? Is to be able to make a difference in people's lives. It's part of us going out there and being really abundant ourselves. And then also the profit piece of being able to bring in the profit, have the freedom, the impact, and profit together. So if you missed that for any reason yesterday, we did a really neat little discovery exercise of where to put your focus in this. If you have not done that, I strongly recommend that you go and you watch that. Today, we're going to talk about really break down the 3 things in the attract piece. And then by tomorrow and on Friday, we're going to go into enroll and align. So you want to make sure that you have on your calendar 5 p.m. Eastern if you're watching this live. If you're watching the replay, like set it either like just boom, just knock it all out, like let's do it, or like set it on your timer, like set it on your calendar to go back and to watch every piece of this so that you can understand it in its entirety and then actually apply it to your life, right? Because here's the thing, we could be here every single day just talking and teaching and sharing all of our secrets with you, all of our experience with you, like the past 8 years online, 15 years in sales and marketing, all of the different areas and people that we've worked with. However, it's about you going out there and implementing it and taking action. That's where the results are going to happen. So with that,
let's crash it.
All
right. So let me clear this out. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So there's 2 types of coaches out there. This is the one, right? Just want to make sure I'm in the right order here. The little stick figure here is the circles. My bad.
So really, let's go over first of like what it really looks like to be able to attract people online, right? It takes really 3 areas, and we broke this down a little bit, but let's just break it down real quick again. Is there you go. This attract piece. First things first is your impact messaging, right? Being able to have your messaging down in a way that is really making a difference. A lot of times coaches, we can get so focused on the marketing side of this, of like making sure we have it all done right and all of the things. And it becomes like getting numbers instead of creating an impact. And that's what we got started in coaching for. And when we can create our messaging in a way that is impactful through the process, it not only becomes fun, it becomes exciting. It like unlocks the creativity of this within you, right? So we're going to break down impact messaging. The second thing that you really need to be able to attract people online is this attractor factor. And then the third is this disruption content strategy, which we're going to go over more in depth as well. So let's talk about impact messaging first, right? What impact messaging is kind of a multitude of things put together where you know who your person is that you're talking to, and you know what their problems, their fears, aspirations, their dreams, like, there's something that your clients are going through. Like first thing in the morning, they feel it when they get out of bed. They are thinking about it when they're in the shower. They're like throughout the day, they may get this like feeling in their chest, like, oh, this is so what, right? It's so what for them. It's knowing what that what is and being able to speak into that in a way that's really impactful. And then knowing where they are, right? So let's break down, Chad does a really great exercise that he talks about. A lot of times the problem here is, as coaches and as gifted as you are, like you can help everything everyone with everything, right? If it's relationships, if it's to help them with their business, if it's to help their anxiety levels, if it's to help them with their performance levels and their confidence, their leadership, self-love, like all of those things are amazing. And it can be a really, like you really literally could probably help every person you talk to, right? Well, here's the thing, when you're online and you go to just speak to people and everyone in general, there's so many people online. It's a lot different than when you're offline, where when you can get very clear on who you're directly messaging, like who you're talking to, and create your content and this attractor factor and the rest of these pieces around that, people are gonna like, all you have to do is whisper and they're gonna understand like you're talking to them.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just curious, like if you're on here, if you're watching the replay, or if you're in the group, or you're on live here, like who want to feel good about niching and working with a very specific person. You're maybe not sure how to make that happen yet. Like who is like I don't really have like a super clear niche yet, and I don't, because maybe there's one of the reasons is like you want to be making a difference. You don't want to leave people out. Who's ever felt like niching is like leaving someone out? Like, does that resonate with anybody, where you're like, it's like you're leaving, if you niche, if you focused onto one niche, you feel like you might be leaving somebody out. Or you're like, maybe, if I niche to somebody and I start charging more, then like a certain amount of people can't get the value from me. They're not going to, I'm going to leave people, like they're not going to be able to get access to me because I'm charging more. Or if I niche, then actually, I'm just curious, if you're on here, if you could just give us like, what is your resistance been about niching, just so we can get an idea of what that looks like. So I'm going to erase this. And so I want to show you a way that you can really feel good about, actually, I want this last, boom. I want to, bless you, hi, thanks.
Thank you.
So I want to create this in a way, I want to show you how this can really feel good to niche. And what that is if you create this, resistance is finding the right niche. Well, yeah, I get that. So this, if you imagine this being your program, like we talk about that right there with you, finding the right niche. Okay, cool. So we actually have a framework. We're not going to be going into it in here, but we have something called the perfect triangle. And I'll just kind of just go briefly into it. And it's boom. And you go into the people that you can make the biggest impact with. Then you got the people that you can, that you love to work with. And you narrow down each one, and then you go into profit. We don't have time to necessarily go into this right now, but this is like the basic framework of how that works. We actually work through our clients on a regular basis through this, and and if you feel like you're really struggling with it, we can obviously have a conversation and see if we can help.
Me or reach out or something. Be more than happy to see what we can do to help you.
Yeah, exactly. That. But when you find your perfect niche, and welcome, Brittany.
Yeah, what's up, Brittany?
Yeah, so if you're struggling finding your niche, if you imagine this being your when you do get a niche and you do get your leveraged evergreen high ticket program that is making that deep impact, and you're starting to charge higher rates, and this is what niching allows you to do. And this is going to show you how you can really feel good about not just niching, but also about charging higher prices. So this is, imagine this as being your program, and you have like this being is going to be your close knit community.
So maybe that's like a Facebook group?
Yeah, Facebook group, LinkedIn group, a Discord channel. I don't know, like
That actually is totally a thing.
it is totally a thing. I
Yeah,
know.
it's totally a thing. I was just looking at a coach who's like rocking it on Discord. So it's really like your warming, group.
Your place where you're adding value to your community, and you're giving very specific, very like raw and intimate content that does a few things. And we'll talk about this a little bit more when we get to the content description method. A disruption method is it handles objections, it builds deep rapport, and it sets you up as an authority. This is the thing, it's free to join. And they don't have to be in your maybe like a direct niche to like get into the group, unless you're on it, and you can kind of screen. Excuse me, just need to grab some water. Now, we have a group. It's Coaches for Transformation Collective.
You may be watching it in this group.
You might be watching it in this group. And this is the thing is like we screen pretty hard to make sure that they're at least coaches, but they're all different types of coaches. And we're not going to like, okay, are you our perfect client to get into our group? And maybe you are going to be our perfect client in 6 months. Maybe you're going to be a perfect client in a year after you've started making, because our perfect client is really someone that is making a difference with clients, that really like is really like helping people, and you've made a difference. You've had you saw transformations with your clients. Maybe you're averaging, a few clients a month. And it's not that we haven't worked outside of this realm, but it has to be like a very special and perfect, like a really amazing person. And so anyways, and you really want to go to that 6 figures, 250K in your coaching business. You're kind of trickle of clients periodically. You get a few a month, but you really want to go to that, 10, 20 clients with like a high ticket. And that's really where you want to be. But again, we're not going to screen you and go, all right, are you getting clients? If you're not getting clients yet, we're not going to let you in our group. And so people that aren't quite your niche can totally be allowed in your group. Now, this is the thing, is when you get to here, which is like your friends list, right? You're not going to screen every person that you become friends with to make sure that they're your perfect client. And you're when you put out valuable content that solves problems out onto your wall, you are essentially people that they don't have the money necessarily. Not everybody, not all of them are going to hire you. Not all of them are going to have the money to even invest in your program.
So I will say to that is like on your personal loan, you do want to add people who could be potential, but not necessarily like they're ready right now, and you like go through this whole qualifying process, right?
To be my friend.
Right. I gotta qualify you to be my friend. Why do you want to be friends with me? Last time I was qualified,
you did
as a friend request, I ended up marrying the guy. So I don't know, there may be something to the whole qualifying process. However, like it doesn't have to be like they're ready to work with you right now. Right. And as you create this content that we're going to talk about, you're still able to make a difference with them. So as we're sharing this with you, right, like there's your like hub of people, and like these are your clients. This is kind of like your world, and these are your clients and the people that you work with. You're still able to make a difference with the people in your group and in your wall and in your community. Brittany, I appreciate you. I'm glad you hopped on here. So go ahead.
Yeah. So next is like you're actually getting out and maybe engaging in other people's groups. Maybe you're being interviewed in other people's groups. Maybe you are on a podcast. These are people that are not friends with you. They don't know who you are. They're just cold, right? You're putting stuff out there that has a ripple effect. If one of your friends engages with your post on your wall, if you have your profile set up in a way, then it's other people that they're friends with will see your post, and it's going to impact those people, even though you're not friends with them. You're just friends of friends. And so when you can create this ripple effect out in the world, our clients, if you're averaging 10 clients a month, you're probably impacting 1,000 people on a monthly basis that's seeing your content, that's reading your posts, that's watching your lives, that is hearing your interviews or whatever, right? And
Maybe even more, right?
maybe
It's
even
not
more.
even your, it's not your responsibility to know how many people you make a ripple effect difference with, but I know that that can be a huge factor, motivation. I'm like looking for the right word. It's a huge motivation, right? When we know that, we're either going out there and marketing for clients, or we're going out there and making a difference and impact in the world with what it is that we're doing. It's a huge shift in the way that you go into it.
Yeah, and when you're learning the right way to create your messaging, and each one of these layers are a different type of marketing. It's a different type of messaging. It's a different type of things that you're going to be putting out there. And when you do it right, they just attract to you from out here, and then they move in, and then they become clients, and it becomes this consistent flow of potential clients and then clients.
So what we want you to do in this part is really do a self-assessment. We do a lot of assessments here and want, this is for you to discover what you need, right? We're here for you and that discovery. Do a little assessment on yourself now. Do you feel like on a scale of 1 to 10, do you have your niche? Do you have your messaging? Do you know where your people are online, right? We've talked about a few. Is it Discord? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Pinterest? There's so many different places out there. So just give yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in your niche. Do you know what and who your niche is? Your messaging, is your messaging clear? I want to just kind of address Civil asked, how can I narrow down?
Yeah, we have a framework called the Perfect Triangle, and it goes into who can you make the biggest impact with, who do you actually love to work with, and who are the people that you actually can that actually have the money to invest into, and that's how you can narrow it down. If you want to have a conversation, we can see.
So reach out. I think we have a training somewhere that will help you narrow that down, and then see if we can help you in any way too.
Yeah, and sometimes doing it yourself is one thing, but when you have the guidance and support of somebody that can help you go through that, that's super helpful. So what you want to do is you want to rate yourself on a 1 to 10. How narrow focused, how good is your niche? How really and this is how you can judge a niche is, are you speaking to a very specific person, and are you doing a very specific thing for those people? So and one of the things you can tell that you're not niched, if your little catchphrase is I help people to do blah blah blah, and it's kind of vague, and
change their life.
Yeah, change their life.
I help people change their life.
Yes, there's there and
it's happened.
So when you're talking to people, that's there's 7.5 billion people in the world, and so that's the thing. So then messaging is how close are you to really inception of where they're waking up in the middle of the night and they're in the hot sweats and they have this problem that they're dealing with, and how tapped in are you into what their challenges are, and are you speaking that out into the world to attract these clients. And then platform would be do you know exactly where your people are and how you're making that difference. And then impact is do you have this where you're putting content out there and that ripple effect, and you're making that impact through this process of attracting people. So go ahead, rate yourself now and drop that in the comments.
1336. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So all right, I'm going to erase this now. Clear. Boom. All right, next one is I'm going to go over to Holly's page.
So this next piece here is the attractor factor, right? Having this attractor factor vibe of when people see you, ultimately, when they come across your profile, you have 3 to 5 seconds.
And so I'm gonna have to miss this and I'll catch the recap. So
How do I get out of here?
now people help me leader.
I don't know.
So all right, I'm going to erase this. There you go.
Okay, here we go. So having that attractor factor, when people go onto your profile and they're like, oh, well, what do they do? What's this chick about? right? Or what's this person guy, whatever, who's this person about? What do they do? Literally 3 to 5 seconds, people will decide if they want to work with you or get to know you a little bit better.
I love that picture.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so what you want to look at when you're looking at your profile to see if you have the attractor factor is a couple of things. One is, are you saying something, on your this back here? What is this called? Your words.
Your cover photo?
Cover photo. There you go. Thank you. Do you have something on your cover photo that is kind of giving an idea of what you do? One of the things actually, I see, like, are you okay with a little tip?
You get. Oh, I already know. I
I
already have
know
a
you
new
know.
one designed. So if you want to, a little tip is to actually call them out. Like, are you this, and do you want this? And bring them through. So they say yes, and then bring them through to the next process. I was testing something here.
I knew you knew this, and I just figured I would say, just for a teaching purpose, is calling them out, but also giving them a direction, like she said, is like sending them somewhere. Could you going to your group, your Facebook group, which you're going to show?
Well, I have other ones that do this. So I'm all about testing, right? So you can't actually go to my group or go to the group through here when people read about it. So ultimately, the purpose of the attractor factor is really the starting point of your process, right? It's the first step. So this was a test. I'm actually working on a new design for a different one where it does call them out and it like asks them a question where they say yes and then move over to the next one. You could go through. If you want to go to my profile and go through my covers, I've gone through a couple different ones. There you go.
So
I'm a transformation coach, ready to build and connect with an audience that loves you and naturally attracts your soul clients. Free course. Click here to get started. Thanks. And we did a scaling abundance challenge. So it was like click here to get started. So, you're always going to start testing, test things and then see what works really good. And then I have just become a little science experiment scientist over the last 8 years or whatever. And I'm someone who I don't like it the same all the time. So I like to shift things up a bit, which is cool. And ultimately the purpose here is to bring people to your next place. So when people read this, they see, they get what we're about, right? We're about evolution. We're about working with transformation coaches who make a deep impact with clients. So it's I do have a little note for the transformation coach who boom.
Yep.
And it leads them to a group. And then the bio here, affect the lives of more people by leveraging our marketing energetics blueprint. That link right there, that goes to our group. We have another section here of, Coaches for Transformation Collective. You click on that picture, boom, it goes to our group. It's you're always taking them. It's the beginning part of a process. And there's a little bit more to the attractor factor as well. And it's also creating your content in a way that's really sharing a story, what you're about, the value that you get, not just what you're about, right? Because it's not necessarily about you per se, but stories are important. So it's sharing stories, it's sharing, things that you're about. It's testing to see, if your market or if your people resonate with certain things. It's taking people through a process.
Yeah. So we're just going to go into the rating on this. So what you want to do is give yourself,
oh, it's also your cover, but you're not just your cover, but your profile picture, right?
Yeah. Do you have a cat?
Is the lighting good? Are you looking, I've done some pictures and I've done tests on this, whether it's just a headshot or if it's a full body. I got some really cool pictures. I have this picture of me where I'm in this jet boots thing and the boots are launching me out of the water and it looks super cool. But for me to put that into a profile picture, people aren't going to actually see my face and get my
connected to who you
connected to me, right? Mm-hmm. So it's having a really lit up face headshot so people can connect and just really build relationships.
Yeah. So what you want to do is rate yourself, maybe give yourself 1 point if you have something that tells what you do. Give yourself another point if you have a call to action to go somewhere. Give you 3 points or another point. So this would be another point if you have where you can click on it and then go to more information and then they can go there. And then give yourself another point for a a good profile picture of you smiling. and then give yourself another point if you have like what you do, who you work with, what you do, and then maybe a link to go somewhere specifically to a group or some of value. And then give yourself another point if you have a link here in your description here to go somewhere. Give yourself another point if you have your picture here where it's one picture, not like 8 pictures or whatever it is, and that you can actually, it's actually bonus points if you can do this, which is really ninja, to be able to click on it and then go to you know, a group, which was that was actually something that you kind of blew my mind when you were able to do that. So
I
yes.
still got it with you.
Yeah, and then give yourself another, actually give yourself 2 points if you have valuable content for your potential clients on your wall, like people that are, they're getting value from your, you know, content on your wall. It actually speaks to your perfect people, and it's not too freaking.
It's not all business, professional.
Yes.
Right, my cover photo, what I said is I help people, like help you guys have a life that has it all, which means family is incredibly important to me. So I talk about, like, that whole post was talking about balancing like a non-negotiable in my life. I go to Ohio at least once a month and I shut everything off and I go and I spend time with my family. We just went out to Amish country. So here was another post about having your being able to charge higher prices for your sessions and for your program. There's client results here of testimonial videos. There's here's another one. You know, we do a lot of breaking patterns, and you know, it's no joke. Like when you break patterns, that's something to like really, I acknowledge you for being in the work. I know that you're in the work and you're watching this, because that's just the people that we attract. Like having that evolutionary growth is important for yourself because you're in the work, because that's how you make a deeper impact with your clients. So I talk about that. So it's having your content on point as well.
Yeah, okay, that's a great question. So I love how clear you are on your message, can see it in your profile. So Carol, the reason that we highly recommend your personal profile and not your business page is because your business page has become pay and play, which means that nobody gets to see anything you post unless you actually pay ads to, or very, let me restate that, a very small percentage of the people that actually like your page actually ever see your posts. If you think about it, if you scroll through your...
You can actually look. So we have Holly, you know, learn more about me at Holly, and this is our business page. Okay, so we do have a business page because we run ads. So this page, we actually have to get a new page, which is what it is. So this page actually has about 9,000 likes and followers on it. And you may be like, wow, that's a lot. That's amazing, right? Well, here's the thing, when we post on it, like I have posts on here.
So you can see this, right? So 9,000 likes, 9 people this actually reached.
19 people.
19 people, excuse me.
And then this goes, I just have it automated where it goes 18 people, like no likes. So out of 9,000 people, people just don't see one person. Like they don't see it, and it's not because your content isn't good or anything else, because I've had these posts on Instagram or like and on my Facebook wall, and they've done incredible. It's because the reach is about, I want to say before it was 1%, but I'm even thinking it might be like 0.5%, unless you're actually paying, or people are literally, they're liking your page and then making sure that they get all of your notifications, which can be kind of challenging.
Yeah, so your personal page, and people in today's day and age want to connect with a person, not a business. And when you so much of marketing has become conversations, not clicks. Like marketing used to be like you just drive as many people or clicks to a page and then you get sales and clients or whatever. Now it's all about conversations and really building rapport and really making sure that people are a good fit. And when you're having messages, you don't like having messages as a business page, it's very direct. It's like if they're messaging your business page, they know they're going to get sold something, or they, at least in their mind, they are. Okay, so Seville asked, do we advise a business Facebook group? Absolutely.
Absolutely. So that's actually a great, let's kind of transition into this next piece and talk about Facebook groups a little bit and talk about what we call the content disruption method. And what this method is really bringing people through a process of not knowing who you are to warming them up, building that trusted rapport that gets people to ultimately make buying decisions. And that's really what it's about, right? It's don't know who you are to, okay, to now like, okay, you're my person. So what Chad's drawing here, what most coaches do is like, hey, I'm a life coach. I've even seen this, like, hey, just got my certification, I'm a life coach.
Who wants a session?
Who wants a session?
Buy a session for me. Get a session for me. Let's do it.
Here's my coaching program, join my coaching program.
Join my coaching program.
Or it's the other way of, this is what we're taught a lot online is to give
Value,
value,
value.
need more value, share value, give a bunch of value, do a bunch of value. And you could put out just the most amazing content ever. Every day you're showing up consistently, you're just sharing all the value, and you're like, why am I not getting any clients? Like, what in the world is going on? I'm putting all this energy and thought into content and it's still not producing anything. Right, so what the content disruption method does is it really takes and starts creating this disruption in your prospects' newsfeed, in their thought process. It's like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it that particular way that this person just said. Like, what are they about, right? And you start getting a little bit deeper into the stuff, right? If you think about what process you go through as you're, making decisions for yourself, what probably happened is you saw an ad or someone, or maybe you saw this training, right? And you're like, what's this about? That actually, like, that's what I need. And then you go in and then you start watching the training. And then you're like, oh, Chad and Holly, they're pretty cool. Holly's a little goofy sometimes. Chad's a little like, okay, yeah, he's goofy too. But you know what? I like these people. They're really authentic, right? And you start kind of digging in a little bit more. Like, yeah, the energetic blueprint. This sounds cool. What's this? I'm going to be on day 1. I'm going to go on day 2, right? And you start kind of going into our world a little bit more. And then like, oh, maybe these are the people that can help me. Right. So that's kind of, you got to bring people through a process for yourself. And so what we do in the content disruption strategy is we break it down into 3 areas. So you have your cold traffic. These are the people who don't know who you are. I don't know. Let's not call them traffic. Let's call them cold, like, people. Right. So
Potential
traffic
clients.
yes, cold potential clients. Traffic is very, not connected. So you have your cold potential audience or prospects that don't know who you are. You have your warm audience. Now, these could be people in your Facebook group. So if you ask, do we support Facebook groups? Absolutely. They're much more engaging. People love being a part of a community. Warm them up. And then you start offering and inviting people to take the next step from there.
Yeah, and then hot. So what hot is when you say something very interesting, like, hey, do you want this result in this period of time? I'm looking for 5 people, whatever it is, limiting spots, just something to get somebody to raise their hand and say, I'm interested in that. And this is the thing, a lot of coaches are doing that out there. I'm looking for 5 women, blah, 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 but they never do the value ahead of time. So if you put this as the, hot content, there's coaches out there just running around doing all hot content, dropping their offer on you, but they never built, they never did this, which is the cold, which actually started solving a problem for people. Right. And really attracting people into your world, which this is your world. And so when you track them into your world, giving them content that handles objections, that builds rapport and shows like how to, we had 2 clients, our 2 of our first like really great case studies. One was Amber. She started doing this process. And we actually did this. She's like, I already know all my objections to my clients, like what they why they wouldn't hire me. So we're like, okay, cool. Go write down all of the reasons and then go do all those videos and post them in your group and then start bringing people cold into your group or inviting them to your group. And then she did all these videos and then boom, started posting some hot content, getting people to raise their hands, book calls, and she did 138K in 6 weeks. We had another client, Nia, never had a coaching or never had like a business ever in her life. She was actually a grant writer. This is before we only worked with coaches. And we did the same thing with her, but instead she got on calls, like had tons of people interested in her program and what she was doing. And she would get on calls and then she would just write down, okay, this objection, this objection, this objection, this objection. And then we're like, okay, write down all those objections. Now go do videos on all of them and invite those people you just did videos with into your group and make sure that they watch your videos and then put out a hot post. And then not only did those people have those objections, but all the other people you're inviting into your group have those same objections. And then boom, you throw up a hot post like me. Then you jump on, they don't have any objections anymore because it was already handled in the content.
Oh,
Boom. So this is our, this is really our process for, attracting, enrolling through content, and then getting people to reach out and then booking calls through this process. Then, and when you actually get them on a call, which is valuable too, you then break down your offer and how you can help and all that, but not over here and not never, where it's just, this is nobody ever gets to see your offer because you never show it because you're just adding value.
so what you want to do here is kind of rate yourself, like where do you feel you have like your content strategy, right? So putting content out there, do you feel like, is it, one being like maybe you're dropping nothing wrong, right? Maybe you're dropping your program on your head, or maybe you're the other, like just giving so much value and not actually having any kind of invitations. Okay, so rate yourself on a 1 to 10 of where you feel you are in your content, of being able to create content and convert them into clients.
Yep. And then the other part of the content description is the syndication, being able to actually get your content out to different platforms, out to different places, to different communities, to different places where people are seeing your stuff all over that maybe these cold content that they don't know who you are yet.
Without it being the same, right? Because when you go and you're like, I'm gonna put this piece of content in all of these groups, and then you just like spam all of these groups, well, then all of the people that you're friends with or mutual, like you just showed up that you just spammed a bunch of groups.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's not effective. So what you want to do is, like, when you use a syndication strategy, and we don't have time to go over the whole like how it works.
Yeah.
If you would like help setting up the strategy, I want to invite you, just comment me below. We can talk about what that would look like, see if you're a good fit. But ultimately what it does is you have all of these different content pieces that you can then have. Let's say you have 5 different groups, you're posting 5 different things, but however, it's not costing you the like, oh my gosh, I have to do a gazillion posts a day. Are you kidding me? Like who can do that? Right? Like nobody. But when you have a system and a process that allows you to set that up for you, then what it does for you is you look like a freaking rock star. Not only do you look like one, it's because you are a freaking rock star.
Yep.
Yeah. So rate yourself there. I'd love to know in the chats. And, as we're going through and you're seeing, this was just a piece of this. Attracting people is only a piece of being able to get all of this together and build your coaching online to, that multiple 6-7 figures. It's, having you can attract all the people, but if you don't have this enrollment process for them, then it's not gonna even matter. You can have all the people in the world. We've worked with clients who've had like big followings, but they weren't getting any clients. It just goes to show that it really is all of these different pieces. So we're gonna be breaking down the enrollment process tomorrow. So you want to make sure that you're here 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and let's break down the enrollment process for you guys, and so you can start implementing this as well. And I do want to invite you guys, as you're seeing this content, maybe I know we've had a couple 1s, 3s, 5s, like let's get you down to where it's effective and you're just consistently bringing people in and really making the difference that you're out for. Comment me if you're on the live or if you are on Zoom directly, or if you're seeing this on a page, I'm sure there's a button below somewhere that is going to open up and have a conversation.
Yep.
Right? We don't just like go straight up the wall book calls with everybody, because again, you'll learn more about our enrollment process tomorrow. But for you, you don't want to be on calls with just everybody, right? So we're going to show you how you can do that again, show you that tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys. I'm looking forward to speaking to you and talking to you. Comment below me, and we'll have that conversation.
You're welcome.
You are
Thank
so
you so-
welcome.
Bye, guys.